Andrew salutes you. I want to thank all our subscribers, new subscribers, and channel members for your support. There's a new store with new designs. We have dresses, t-shirts, and more with a bride and a groom logo. If you'd like to visit the store, go to the link on Buy Me a Coffee, and you will find the store icon scrolling down on the left side. And if you want to buy a coffee for our dearest brother Michael, you can do so. Your support helps us cover costs and continue creating content. Of course, I hope you'll find the answers to all your questions in this video. If you're not a member yet, join us now. You'll find the link in the description and on the homepage. We publish something special for you every month. With that being said, let's start with today's topic. Today, we're going to continue looking at the mystery of the three great harvests in Scripture: the barley, the wheat, and the grapes. These harvests not only show us God's timetable for redemption, but they also reveal the timing of the Shekhinah, the bride, as she ascends into the heavenly chambers for her wedding with the Messiah, her bridegroom. We're going to see how the Bible and even ancient Aramaic manuscripts give us a unified picture. The Shekhinah is taken first as the first of the first fruits, the resurrection company joins her, and then the wheat and grapes follow in their appointed times. The barley harvest, the first fruits. The barley harvest was the very first harvest of Israel's calendar, celebrated at Passover and the Feast of First Fruits. Leviticus 23 verses 10-11 says, "When ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord." In the New Testament, Paul tells us in 1 Corinthians chapter 15:20, "But now is Christ risen from the dead, and become the first fruits of them that slept." Christ was the first of the barley harvest to rise. But what about Christ, the Shekhinah? This is a beautiful picture. On the night of Shavuot, which follows the barley harvest, the bride is adorned by her companions and taken to her chamber in heaven. It says, "The bride who is Malkut is joined with her husband. All night the companions rejoice with her as she prepares her jewels." That means the Shekhinah is taken first into the inner chamber. Just as Isaiah 26:20 says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast." And then Revelation 14 tells us of the company of first fruits. "These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb." Revelation 14:4. These are the resurrection saints, the barley company, who join the Shekhinah in that wedding chamber. So the Shekhinah goes first as the first of the first fruits, and then the bride's company follows as the attendants of the bride. 2. The wheat harvest is purified through tribulation. The next great harvest is the wheat harvest, celebrated at Pentecost, also called the Feast of Weeks. Exodus 34:22 ties Pentecost directly to the wheat harvest. Unlike barley, wheat must be threshed to separate the grain from the chaff. And this is a perfect picture of tribulation. Jesus said in Matthew 13:30, "Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn." This is the larger believing community purified through the fires of testing. Revelation 7 describes them. "These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." Revelation 7:14. So, while the Shekhinah and the barley company are hidden in the chambers, the wheat must pass through the fire of tribulation before being gathered. 3. The grape harvest, the final judgment. Finally, at the close of the age, comes the grape harvest. Grapes are not threshed, they are crushed, a picture of judgment. Joel 3:13 says, "Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, tread, for the press is full, the vats overflow, for their wickedness is great." Revelation 14:19-20 describes this vividly. The angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. This is when Christ he and Christ she, now joined as bridegroom and bride, return together. Revelation 19 gives us the sequence. The marriage supper is announced in heaven, verses 7-9, and immediately after, Christ treads the winepress of God's wrath, verse 15. This grape harvest is the judgment of the nations that rejected the king and the queen. Putting it all together, God's timeline is as follows. 1. Shekhinah ascends first, the first of the first fruits, taken into her heavenly chamber. 2. Barley company, resurrection saints, and those who are alive will get their glorified bodies. The companions of the bride, entering the chambers with her for the wedding. 3. Wheat harvest, the larger body of believers refined during tribulation. 4. Grape harvest, the final judgment of the nations at the end of the tribulation. Aramaic manuscripts indicate that the temple must be constructed first, followed by the transfer of the Shekhinah. Shekhinah's ascent, the wedding. 1. Shavuot and the night of the bride's ascent. Ancient texts portray the night of Shavuot, weeks, as the pivotal moment when the Shekhinah, as Malchut, the bride, is prepared for her union with the divine. One striking passage states, on the night when the bride, who is Malchut, was to be joined with her husband. On the morrow, which is the holiday of Shavuot, the bride-to-be is prepared for the matrimonial service and to be wed to her husband. During this night, the attendants rejoice with her as she prepares her jewels. This directly links the bridal ascent to the night immediately preceding Shavuot. In this imagery, the Shekhinah is escorted in her bridal adornment toward union with her heavenly bridegroom, quite aligned with the idea of first fruits and early gathering. 2. Bridal preparation and companions. Another poetic detail from ancient scriptures enriches this wedding moment. As soon as the bride beholds her spouse, when the bride awakes on the morn of her wedding day, she begins to prepare her ornaments and decorations with the aid of the companions who have rejoiced with her all that night. All those companions who joined in her adornment have their names recorded there above. This refers to the study of the Torah, and from the study of the Torah to the prophets, and from the prophets to the holy writings, and then to the expositions of the scriptures, and to the inner secrets of wisdom, because these are her jewels and her adornments, and she, the bride, approaches her bridesmaids and sets herself over their heads. They prepare her and rejoice with them all night. The day after, in the morning of Shavuot, she does not enter under the chuppah, marriage canopy, without them. So those friends who studied the Torah all night long are called the canopy attendants. As she approaches the canopy, the Holy One, blessed be He, inquires after them, blesses them, and crowns them with the bridal crowns. Happy is their portion. Here, the bridal attendants, paralleling your resurrection company or first fruits, are spiritually present, participating in the preparations. Their supportive presence is honored and remembered in the heavenly realms. So, the Shekhinah's transfer or ascent occurs overnight before Shavuot, with the company accompanying her in spiritual ministry, preparing her for the ceremonial union the next morning. Shekhinah, barley omer, first of the first fruits, ascends to heaven during the night before Shavuot, preparing and adorning herself in anticipation of the wedding. The omer offering coincides with the Passover festival. The company, barley first fruits, as attendants, is present with her in that spiritual moment, sharing in the bridal preparations and rejoicing. The wedding ceremony follows at dawn, culminating in union with the divine bridegroom, a powerful symbol of the resurrection and heavenly gathering. Ancient scriptures state that the bride ascends first, followed by the company, with a divine wedding to follow. Barley harvest, Shekhinah, first, then her company, Shavuot night of the bride. The Shekhinah, bride, Malchut, is adorned and taken to the heavenly chambers the night before Shavuot. Her companions, the attendants, rejoice with her and are remembered in heaven. Scriptures, Isaiah 26, verses 20, 21. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, until the indignation be overpast. The Shekhinah enters the chamber first, and those hidden in her, the first fruits company, are kept safe. Revelation 14:4. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. This is the company that accompanies the bride into the heavenly wedding chambers. Matthew 25:10. And they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. The barley company, those who are prepared, enter the chambers with the bride. Before the tribulation judgment fully breaks, Shekhinah, the first of the first fruits, is lifted into the chambers, and the resurrection company joins her for the wedding. Wheat harvest, the larger believing community, bridal attendants, the companions who adorned the bride are later honored. Their work is remembered, but they are not the first taken into the bridal chamber. This aligns with the wheat, which ripens later and requires threshing, a picture of purification. Scriptures, Matthew 13:30, wheat is gathered after separation from tares at harvest's end. Revelation 7:14, these are they which came out of great tribulation and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Daniel 12:10, many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly. The timing, mid to late tribulation, the wheat company, larger believing body, comes in after purification through fiery trial. Grape harvest, the nations are judged. Come in judgment of the nations. Winepress of wrath. Ancient texts describe the Shekhinah as descending with judgment when the world has rejected the bridegroom. The imagery of grapes being pressed matches the day of vengeance. She is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. We have some scriptures. Joel 3:13, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, for the press is full. Isaiah 63 verses 2, 4, the bridegroom, Messiah, treads the winepress of judgment. Revelation 14:19, 20, the angel thrust in his sickle, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. Revelation 19 verses 7, 15, wedding feast announced in heaven, verse 7, 9, immediately followed by the Messiah treading the winepress, verse 15. Timing, end of the tribulation, when Messiah and bride, the two Messiahs, come in judgment of the nations. Let's see how it all fits together. 1. Shekhinah first, barley. She ascends as the first of the first fruits, entering the chambers in heaven. 2. First fruits company, barley. The resurrection company joins her at the wedding as attendants and witnesses. 3. Wheat harvest. Believers purified in tribulation are gathered later into the kingdom. 4. Grape harvest. Nations that rejected the king and queen face the final winepress of wrath. I try to picture this event. On Shavuot, the wedding ceremony will take place before the marriage supper, the bride ascending to her chamber adorned by her companions between the end of the barley harvest and before the day of Shavuot. The celebration beautifully dovetails with the biblical framework of the harvest. It confirms my conviction that Shekhinah is taken first into the chambers, and the first fruits company follows to witness the heavenly wedding. There's no need to guess when the bride's transfer will occur. It's detailed in ancient Aramaic texts. The bride must be in heaven well before Shavuot to prepare and celebrate with the bridesmaids, known as the bride's company, from the night before Shavuot. We have concluded the study. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed these teachings, please share them to help others in need. We appreciate your likes and comments. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to the family. Stay tuned for our next video. It promises to be fascinating.